If you're thinking about becoming an online tutor in 2025 so you can create a better life for you and your family, control your teaching schedule, control the income that you can make from teaching whilst impacting more students, this right here is the only video that you need to watch to get started as quickly as possible. It's going to be a complete A to Z game plan of everything you need to know. We're going to cover what to teach, how to price your tutoring services, what to give and offer your students, and even how to get students. You'll leave this video with scripts and swipes that you can use right away to start getting online tutoring students. So stick with me here and check this video out. Okay guys, let's jump in. Here's how to become an online tutor in 2025. I'm going to walk you through everything you need to know, from what to teach online, what to charge, what to offer, how to sell, how to advertise. And then my goal of this video is so that you can actually leave the video with some strategies. I'm going to give you some scripts, some swipes you can actually go and use to start getting online tutoring students so you can become a full-time tutor in 2025. And if you so wish, replace your teaching salary or simply earn some extra teaching income. And then my ultimate goal is that you love what you see here and you can go and use it to get some students. And then maybe you actually want to hire us as well down the line, and we can help you grow this way faster here at the Teacher Project. So make sure you watch everything, because I build it in sequential order. If you skip through it, you're going to miss something and it's not actually going to make sense. So pay attention, go through step by step in this video, because I'm going to spend some good time with you here. And it's going to really give you a whole load of things that you can actually go and use. This isn't just a woo-woo video. You're actually going to get some word-for-word scripts, advertising copies that you can use, that we're using with our clients. Okay, so let's jump in. Here's what we're going to cover. So here's a bit of a table of contents of this video. So this is kind of almost like a little bit of a course I'm going to walk you through. So first we'll go through why online tutoring is the golden ticket for teachers in 2025. I think it's important you know that. There's an amazing opportunity for you. Then I'll walk you through why you should listen to us very briefly so you know you're in good hands. And then we'll start jumping into what you should actually teach online, okay? What you should offer your students, so what services you should provide to make sure they get results. The advertising strategy to get students reaching out. I'll show you some advertising copies that you can model, and then how to actually book new students in for consultations with you. I'll give you a script, a word-for-word script that you can use to speak with new students or parents and get them booked in for a call with you. And then once you've got the parents and students on a call, we'll go through a sales script that you can use to get your first students, okay? So whether you're starting from scratch, you absolutely use this. Whether you've got a few students, you can tweak it and use it as well. And then once you've got your first students, I'll show you how you can scale and increase your pricing and your services so you can actually replace your salary, okay? So let's kick it off. So here's why online tutoring is a golden ticket for teachers in 2025. Now look at the screen. This is Zoom's post-pandemic growth, okay? So if you look at the bottom here, 2019, it was at 330 million per year annual revenues. 2024, it scaled to 4.53 billion. So yeah, it's increasing, right? It's still increasing, which is why the caption list, it slows to a crawl. But the only reason for that is because Zoom created this industry. So there's so many other video software providers now that basically the whole world has access to video software online, okay, to actually communicate with other people, which really opened the door for people to be tutored online instead of in person, right? So there's just so much opportunity. Basically, every man and his dog has got access to Zoom or one of the other video hosting platforms, right? So it's continuing to grow, right? Now, as I said, that opened the door for online tutoring to really kind of explode after the pandemic. And you can see here these stats here. This is from TechNavio, Global Online Tutoring Market Growth, 2024 to 2028, $318 billion, billion with a B, right? That's a growth rate between them, between those years, 2023, I think it says there, the base year, and 2028. And CAGR over on the left-hand side, 19.83%. CAGR is capital annual growth rate. Forbes says 15% above is a booming industry, okay? So over on the right-hand side, you can see kind of what's booming. Bottom right, sorry. It's like STEM, languages, other courses. I can tell you for a fact, we've worked with over 2,500 teachers at this point as we lead into 2025. And I know there's a whole host of other subjects that are, like provide an amazing opportunity for teachers to become full-time online tutors in 2025. And we'll go through some of them here. Okay. So look, it's pretty obvious. It's a booming industry. There's amazing opportunity. Now, what's possible? Well, I don't share with you this to brag as such. I'm sharing it with you to let you know, like, kind of what is possible here. So here's some of our clients. Dalton, she was already teaching online actually, but she scaled to 4x their business, scaled to over $1 million in just 10 months. Quinita was starting from ground zero, classroom teacher in an elementary school, did 50K in sales in 12 weeks. Luke, in his first year, scaled to 10K months. You can see there. Tara, from January up till September, she'd done 100 grand. Okay, that's pounds sterling as well, right? And she was classroom teacher in that January. Okay, then she did 20K a month in September in her business. Okay, so again, I don't share that with you to brag. I share it with you so that you know actually what's possible once you implement some of the things that we're going to walk through today. Now, obviously, it's not a magic pill, right? Like what I'm going to give you, you've got to actually use it and implement it and be consistent like a lot of these teachers have here, okay? So you're in good hands. I'm also a best-selling author with my book, Teaching on Your Own Terms. If you haven't read it yet, what are you waiting for? There's probably a link down below this video. You can go and grab a copy. Went to bestseller in 7 categories, was featured by NASDAQ in Times Square, New York City. And I walk through everything that we've kind of taught to thousands of teachers over the last few years, okay? So that in mind, you're in good hands. Let's go into the first thing. You need to know what to teach, right? Like that's the first thing. You can't just take your expertise out there and expect the students to come running just because you're good at teaching a subject, all right? So the key behind this is to make sure that you get one specific student that you can work with, that can be grouped together. Because if you just teach math or you teach English or you teach guitar or French, whatever it might be, and you just try and take some students on, that's a bad move. Mainly because what will happen is you attract students with different ages, different abilities, and it's not very specific. So you're kind of the jack of all trades, master of none. And the reason why that's the main issue is because those students are all different, they then can't be grouped together. So you end up taking a few students in and teaching them one-on-one, which might be good to, earn a little bit of pocket money, but it's not going to help you become a tutor because then you get booked solid and you don't have the time to market on the business. You don't have the time to speak with new students. There's only so many hours in a day. So teachers fall into this trap, and it's because they don't narrow down what I'm sharing with you here. Okay. Plus, if you're jack of all trades, you're just a commodity, right? And then you get stuck in the price war as well. And there's only a certain rate that you can kind of charge before people keep saying to you, or new prospects, students, parents, they're just saying, oh, well, this tutor's only charging $20 an hour. Rather than you really identifying one specific student that you become the expert for, pretty much like a chiropractor, right? When someone's got back pain, they really want to find like the expert to fix their back pain. The person's the chiropractor. So you've got to become that expert teacher or the go-to tutor so that you can attract one type of student that will then pay you more because you can help lead them to a result. And then they can be grouped together because they're very similar so that you can start working smarter, not harder, right? So first thing you can do, you need to pick one subject. That should be the easy bit because you should be an expert if you're looking to become a tutor in one specific subject or maybe a few, but there's probably one subject that, you've got more expertise in. So you pick that. Example, reading. So you're going to pick one student within that subject. So you really want to identify one particular student. This can be on age range or it could be on skill level, right? So reading, you could definitely really kind of target like first and second grade students or third grade even. And I'm really going to target the people who are struggling to learn to read, who are reading behind grade level, right? Because then there's a clear problem and pain point that they're probably getting a lot of feedback at school, for example, from their teachers at that age are they're not reading very well. You need to read with them more, and the parents really just don't have time to do it, most likely. And so that's where a tutor could come in. Yeah. On the other end of the spectrum, there might be kids who are really excelling and they want to get the edge. So this is what I mean. Find one student and really communicate to their pain, their problem, or their goals if it's someone trying to get ahead. That way you're going to get a similar student come in and you can work with them in a group. Okay. Then the goal is to start to lead them to one result, like communicate and guide them to one specific result. So look, I'm going to help these students learn to read on grade level. And now you've got a target, a destination. So you've got a start point, a destination, and then you can build a clear roadmap that can just become repeatable so you can get other teachers to actually help you do this as well, because you can initially map it out. Here's what we're going to do with these students first, then we're going to teach them this, then second, third, and so on, right? And that way, I said, it becomes more scalable. You can teach students in a group, and you can get other teachers to help you with this. It kind of becomes your IP, your intellectual property of how you get students from struggling to succeeding, okay? Or how you get them to excel. So that's the first thing, like what you're going to teach and identify that. Now you need to know what to offer. So what are you actually going to provide if you're going to run a group model so that your students can get life-changing results and you don't have this bucket, right? You've got a hole in it, you're bringing students in, they're dropping at the bottom, because you can't just provide Zoom lessons online, right? If you're just going to provide Zoom lessons online, people only want to pay, they don't want to pay a lot for that, especially in a group. So you've got to over-deliver, okay? And it's not in person, remember? So you need to make sure that they get everything that they need to absolutely love what you have to offer. So here's some of the things that you would do. Now, the sign-up length, ideally, for a tutoring student, you really want to get like a solid commitment from the students, right? So I see a lot of teachers just sign students up for like 30 days with like no contract. And when you start to do that, there's no real commitment for the student. They can drop out at any time. So your retention's not good. You don't have a predictable business. And so you really want some commitment. Twofold. The student's going to get better results, and it allows you that predictability inside of your business and security as well as you start to grow it, right? You know you've got commitment from your students. You know what's going to be coming in. Yeah, so right about 12 weeks, one semester is a great sign-up period. Then in terms of what you're offering during that time, we found that 1 to 2 group classes per week is an ideal cadence, okay? And again, that could be, if you're just getting started, that could be on your time schedule, right? You might start with 1, but as your student base grows, that's when you'd think about like, okay, cool, to get my students better results now, maybe they need to see me twice a week. And it doesn't mean that you long-term need to be the person delivering all of that. You could have a teacher helping you. But ask yourself this, if a student gets in front of you more, are they going to get better results? Absolutely, right? Because you can get in front of them, you can influence them, you can mentor, teach, coach them. Yeah? Now, you could never do that one-on-one. You could, but you sell your time pretty quickly. And to become a tutor in 2025, the goal is not to sell your time. The goal is to win back some time. So you've got to teach groups. And so doing the group model allows you to get in students more frequently and, of course, get them better results. So in terms of live lessons, 1 to 2 weeks, great. Now, what you teach in those lessons, we use what we call a teacher test it model. So more on that, perhaps in upcoming videos. But essentially, like lesson 1 of the week, you teach something. Lesson 2, you kind of reflect back on what was taught to make sure it's sunk in, and you test the students, keeping those sessions interactive as well. But as I said, more on that in future videos. But that's the general framework. Then what you can do as your group classes grow, I've put optional here. I wouldn't do this in the beginning. This is something that you would add in once you perhaps hit like maybe 20 plus students. It's kind of like a catch-up class. So that's why I put this optional. Now I've put book club based on what I was saying before about if it was reading, or a homework club, right? So it's kind of just an extra fun club or a catch-up class, or if you think office hours or something like that, where it's very scalable with your time or a teaching assistant's time if you were to bring a teaching assistant into this long term as you started to grow your business. So you just put on an extra class. Now you can use this one of two ways. It can be for all of the students, again, so you can get in front of them more. You can make it fun, like a book club. If it was reading or homework club where they could just come and ask you questions, that would obviously be age dependent as well, bear in mind. Or it can actually just be that catch-up class where you can then speak to parents and say, hey, little Jimmy's falling behind. I'd love for him to come to the catch-up class this week. Just kind of like where you get people to stay behind at school, right? And that way you can use it strategically to make sure students don't fall behind the rest of the class. So it allows you to over-deliver, make sure your students get great results. Again, this is optional. I'd recommend adding that in once you get to like 20 plus students to make sure student results stay high, retention's good, and you would probably then get like a teaching assistant or something to deliver this. It might need to be you in the beginning as you get started, but okay. The next thing is a study curriculum. So think one of these online courses, if you've been through them, like a classroom online, you could do this in something like Google Classroom, or there's other platforms that you can use. We actually have one, it's called Tutor, where you can build like a curriculum. And then students have something away from the lessons as well. Okay, so you build that out. Again, you don't actually need this in the beginning, but long-term as your student base grows, that way you can have students coming in at any time. So they don't all have to start at the same point. And if they miss the start of the 12 weeks, they can't join. That's a bad business model. You need it so that students could enroll anytime. So you build a student study curriculum out so you can refer the students back to this almost like their homework portal. And then you can be going over it in the live lessons with them. Okay. Then there's also an onboarding call that I would run weekly, or a weekly ramp-up class. So if you think long-term, the key is to make sure there's no kind of cutoff point of when students can start. You want to be able to enroll students day after day, week after week, no matter what time of the school year it is. So what you can do is you can host weekly onboarding classes where again, a teaching assistant could do this. It might need to be you in the beginning though, so that you can validate it, get it right, and build out some kind of gold standard examples of how you do these classes. And it's really just kind of a get to know you class where you prepare the students to join the actual classes. And so you can go through with them how everything works, get them signed into everything, go through support, behavior expectations, everything like that. So this really kind of turns them into a great student right from the off. You could then set them with a start assessment. And then as your groups grow from that, you can then place them into different classes as you start to have more groups based on their ability as well. Okay, so really recommend having some sort of onboarding in. And this has just slipped down onto this page. So if we go down here, number 6 is feedback. Okay, so again, completely optional. It's probably not something you would implement at the start when you first launch your tutoring business, but long term as your student base grows, what you would do is add in perhaps like monthly one-on-one reviews. Or if you initially sign people up for 12 weeks, the students, they could have one in the beginning to go for a start assessment with them and help place them inside of one of your classes based on their ability as you get more classes running. Then you might do it in the middle, 6 weeks, to do like a midterm progress report. And then at the end of the 12 weeks to go through like a final review for that 12-week period. Again, might not be scalable with your time as you're getting started, but and it's not so much of a problem when you're getting your first students. It's just when your student base grows to make sure there's a really great path to keep student results high. That's something you would add in. Again, it could be you, or it could be a teaching assistant, or it could be another tutor that you hire down the line. Okay, so that's essentially what the model looks like and what you're offering. Okay, and then after that, it's obviously just about enrolling students. There's 2 ways that you can go about this. I mean, there's a ton of ways, right? You could rely on referrals. You could post on your social media account, and you might be able to get a few referrals to kick things off, and you'll be able to use some of the scripts I'm going to share with you further down to help you with that. But long term, you want something fast and predictable to get students. And there's really kind of 2 models that we use to get students, and they look like this. So we've used with thousands of clients, okay? So you're going to run ads, so you can pay Facebook for an ad on social media or Instagram. They're generally the best ones. You can use video. You don't have to use video. It can be an image of you or whatever. However, video works, right? Because if a parent or student sees you and they can hear and see your passion, your vision for the student, you can build a whole ton of rapport and trust with them right there. And you can communicate how you're going to help the child or the student, everything like that. And then from that, like I said, you've already built like a lot of trust and rapport, and not many people are using video. So video is great. I'd recommend it, but in the beginning, you don't have to. In fact, we don't get our clients and tutors that we work with initially to start with video, but that's something you would progress into. So anyway, we'll look at the actual advertising copy in just a second, and I'll break it down for you. But you use an ad, and the reason being, if you know who you want to tutor, you can now place that ad and target specific parents and students who are going to respond to the ad. So you can basically pay to be in front of them. Yeah, it's a lot faster than going around and delivering leaflets and flyers hoping that someone sees it. This is super targeted. So the first model you would use is drive someone straight into a messenger conversation. You can see here on the top. Reason why you do that, you're in control of the conversation. So you can build trust, establish rapport, and get someone booked in, if it looks like you can help that student, into a call on your calendar. You then can collect their email and phone number to make sure they show up, and also then follow up with them if they weren't to enroll. Okay, so Messenger is really great because it's got great open rates. And again, it gives you the ability to control the conversation. So many teachers, what they do is when they start their tutoring business, they build a website. You do not need a website because it's just, it's like a billboard. It's very shiny, looks great or whatever, but it's got so much information on it. It's just confusing your prospects, and it's not generating you conversations. It's probably turning those people into window shoppers because they look at your website and it encourages them to bounce to the next person's website and so on. Yeah. So that's model one. Model two is you just run it to like a funnel page where it can just have like a similar video to your ad. Again, it gives them one simple option. So they click your ad, they go to a funnel page, has an option on to book in a call with you immediately. And that's really the only option. So I prefer the top one because again, you can get people into Messenger, you can actually speak to people, you can build rapport and trust, and you can control that conversation. But if not, like this one at the bottom, that would be the next best. Okay. So let's have a look at example advertising copy. So this is the actual advertising copy that you can see in that small snippet from one of our clients, Arif. Okay. So guys, quick interrupt. I hope you're enjoying the video, but I wanted to make sure you picked up your copy of Teaching on Your Own Terms. It's my best-selling book, and it shares with you the exact 5 steps that I've used with over 2,000 teachers at this point, helping them build their dream online teaching businesses. It went to bestseller in 7 categories. It's been featured by NASDAQ in Times Square, New York City. And I know you're going to love it. Inside of the book, you're going to learn things like how to position yourself as the go-to tutor in the marketplace, and the offer that you can create to get your ideal students reaching out, and how to communicate that. I'll share with you what I've seen as the best advertising strategies to get in front of new students and parents who want what you've got, how to sell your services, and everything you actually need to include in an online group tutoring business to make sure your students crush it and get great results. There's some free gifts and bonuses in there. I think in the first couple of pages, there's a link. You can go and grab some free gifts on me, but I know you're going to love it. Teaching on Your Own Terms. I'll leave a link down below in the comments, and go and pick up your copy today. Arif is immediately in his advertising copy calling out. So this is an advertising copyright is being placed on someone's social media newsfeed, okay, along with the video, right? Obviously the video is there in the screen that you can see, but in terms of the actual ad copy, it's calling out his ideal parents and students. Parents who want their child to make a 2-grade improvement in maths, English, or science. Now, Arif is working with multiple students, multiple subjects. He has a much bigger tutoring business now, so he's able to market to a few people, okay, based on what I said, to multiple subjects, right? Because he has a lot of teachers where he can place the students in to multiple classes, okay? Whereas if you're just starting out, you would go one subject, like I said above. Are you ready to identify the gaps in your child's learning, fill in those gaps in a systematic way, assess progress, help them master the subjects? So he's communicating all desires. And of course, anyone who's fits into this category, parents who want their child to make a 2-grade improvement in maths, English, science, if I'm a parent and I know my child is studying those subjects at school, and then I'm being communicated some desires of, hey, would you like your child to do this? I'm going to be nodding my head. I'm going to want to keep reading. Now Arif is saying, let me show you how I can help him do it in just 12 weeks. So it's kind of a big promise. Here's what I can help you do. He's also backing it up with some authority and credibility. He's helped thousands of students. Now, if you were just getting started tutoring, chances are you've been teaching in a school, right, or somewhere. So you've also had experience or X amount of years of teaching, and you can use that to your credibility. Arif then backed it up with some actual examples of students and what they've done. And now he's giving people an option, okay, to move forwards and take the next step, what we call a call to action. Here's what you need to do. Enter your details, get started, and book in a call to speak with me. So there's a general advertising copy in the framework with what it is, of how it's laid out, okay? Now, so if Arif was to send them, Arif's actually using that bottom one straight to his booking page, but getting started, it's a lot easier and less techy to use the messenger script. And that's where we start a lot of our teachers off. And if you're only just starting, we recommend the top strategy for sure, straight into messenger, okay? Now, less tech, very easy to set up. So if you do run something like that, and now you get someone into messenger, you need to book them in for a call. So there's just something there's a very, very simple framework that you can follow here. Hey, whatever the parent's name is, thanks for reaching out. It's Arif here or Elliot, whoever. I'm online for a few minutes. What's got you potentially looking for help with your child's math, English, French, whatever subject it is, and what year are they in at school? A couple of quick qualifiers. Now, the reason why you're doing this is to make sure that they respond and you're asking them questions that they're likely to respond to so you can kickstart the conversation. Remember, they clicked on your ad, right? So you want to establish they're in the right spot and they are your ideal client or student. Now, I'd definitely like to see if we can help. I've got a few spots remaining. What's your schedule like on either X date or Y date? You only offer 2 dates, ideally the next 2 upcoming dates. You want to be soon to keep, like while the strike while the iron's hot, as they say, or the kettle's hot, whatever, right? So very, very fast to get them to book an appointment. You see here when I'm pressing send, you're making sure that you click send because in Messenger, you want to speak like a friend. People don't write these big paragraphs out, okay? So you offer 2 times on dates, 2 dates, sorry. Once they tell you which date, you ask them 2 different times. You could offer 2 different times, and that way you can confirm which one is going to be best rather than just suggesting one time and then they say that they can't do that. So based on your schedule, it would be great to leave a few hours between each time so they've got a choice, okay? Then you collect their name, email, phone number, or you've got their name, but you collect their phone and email, and then you simply load up your Google Calendar or calendar software, whatever you've got. Now, if you've got a calendar system, you can just enter that in and it will send them booking reminders and things like that. Or you could just load up your Google Calendar or Outlook Calendar, whatever you use, and create an invite event, stick a Zoom link in it, and then send it to them, okay? Once you've done that, you say, hey, I just sent over an invite. I'm looking forward to chatting. Send. By the way, I've got a quick resource that you can read before we speak so we can hit the ground running. And then if you can, you provide them with some sort of literature or resource about you. Could be a quick video, a tutorial of how everything works. And this is to build trust and educate them and provide value before the call. So you're doing some of the selling up front, okay? So if you can do that, they're going to be coming in a lot warmer. Because remember, if you're running ads like up here, people have only just seen you on the internet, right? So at the moment, you're kind of a stranger, right? So you've got to build some trust fast. So now once you get them on a call, you need to be able to guide them to make a buying decision, okay? This isn't like selling to referral. If you're speaking to someone who's been referred to you, a friend's child or student who wants tutoring, completely different ballgame, right? They've already made a buying decision. You need to treat a call like this way differently if you really want to be able to do full-time tutoring and perhaps replace your teaching salary, earn more teaching income in 2025 and beyond, okay? So I put here, this script will work best when you're enrolling your first students, okay? And at that point, you're probably going to offer a reduced rate for your founding students, okay, as you bring them in. Then you can increase the rate, and I'll talk to you about that after this. So just bear that in mind. This is really to get your first students. You might offer what we call a founding member rate, where they can come in at a bit of a discount, and then you can increase your price gradually as you start to make sure you build up your selling skills, okay? So the course really got about 4 different parts. Part 1 is the report or pre-frame. So you got the script here. Hey, great to connect with you. Is now still a good time? You let them know the purpose of this call. It's really about to tell you what we're doing for XYZ math students, first and second grade reading students, to help them start reading on grade level and see if what I have can help. Does that sound good? Okay. So you let them know the purpose of the call. You let them know as well, you've got a few quick questions so you can make sure you can definitely help. And then you let them know. If you've got any questions too at that point, please ask. Is that okay? Great. So you let them know about your mission and vision for the students, okay? So that they can improve their skills and the reason why you're doing this, okay? So for example, as a classroom teacher over the past 5 years, I've seen how students struggled with their reading and how frustrating this can be for parents at home who are busy and so on, right? Does that sound familiar? Well, over my years as a teacher, I've found there's a much faster way to help students improve their reading skills and reading grades without having to, whatever their big frustration is, without having to feel stuck and dislike the subject, okay? Or it be time consuming and not enjoyable. I've decided to create an online program to teach students, teach this to students. So I've established some credibility here about my teaching experience. So the first bit is tell them why you're doing it, establish credibility, resonate with them and talk to them about their initial frustration that they're going to have noticed, okay? And then you can say, hey, because I'm doing this online for the first time, I've decided to work closely with just 10 students in a small group over the next 30 days. That can also be 6 weeks as well, depending. That could work too, in a case study program. And that's why I reached out. Over the 30 days or 6 weeks, I'm going to be providing tutoring lessons along with learning resources, assessments, so we can measure progress and see a jump in your child's reading performance. Is that something that would be interesting? So I've told them everything, what it is, why I'm doing it, and why I'm running a case study. Okay, so I've pre-positioned that. Now they understand it, they get what this is, they're interested, there's some desire for it. Now you're going to ask for permission to ask them the questions. Okay, so to make sure it's right for the child, your child, will make sure it's right for Jimmy, whoever the kid's name is, I'm just going to ask a few quick questions to get clarity of where they're at. Based on that, I can let you know if this program can help you. Does that make sense? So at this point, I'm not saying, hey, yeah, this program's absolutely for you. I'm showing them that they need to qualify. Okay, so that's going to allow us to do what we call fact find. So if I had a magic wand, you really just want to get them to imagine what would be the perfect scenario for their student or child or teen, whoever it is you're speaking to. If I had a magic wand and I could instantly fix so-and-so's child name's biggest struggle with their reading, what would it be and why? And then you just want to ask some follow-up questions like, how have they been, why do you feel they've been struggling, and why is it tough? So you need to get their goal first. We're essentially working backwards, right? You need point B, which is where they want to go, okay? And then point A, which is where they're starting from. Well, you can go vice versa. You can get their struggle first and point B second, which is the desired situation versus current situation. It doesn't matter which way around you go. You essentially just need a goal and a start point, because now you can do what we call expand the gap and ask questions so that they can see that they need help to get to that desired situation. So why have they been struggling with this? How long has this been an issue? What have you tried? Is it having an impact on other areas at school and holding them back? If we were to fix this, and how would it help at school? So now I'm getting them to think about benefits, okay? How would that feel? The possibility. So getting them to imagine what it would be like, okay? And imagine that. And they're going to attach themselves to perhaps like a North Star, and they're going to really want and desire that. And now how important? So urgency. Then I'm asking some key things here. What do you think that they need to succeed? The reason why I'm asking stuff like that is so that when I know exactly what they want, I can tailor my tutoring program to make sure that they know I've got all of these things so it fits like a glove, okay? Now, once you've discovered and you've identified that you can absolutely help this student, okay, and you've created some leverage where they feel that they need to move forwards and they want to take action, now you can go into the pitch, okay? So you let them know, thanks for asking those questions, being honest. Is it okay to give you some insight and good news? Sounds to me like Jimmy just really needs to focus on, and you give them a bit of quick advice. This is where your expertise needs to come in. That's where they now see you as that authoritative figure, and they have certainty that you can actually help them, okay? So you let them know the good news is, I can actually help you with this as long as you can. If you can't help the student, say, no, this isn't going to be a good fit, I can offer you a spot. Would you like that? So we want them to think that they've got the spot, okay? Now, you let them know the start date, and you can just, what I would do when you first get this started is think of a date 30 days into the future, and that way you've got 30 days to kind of fill your first few classes up, okay? So you can let them know when it's starting. I'll be teaching over the next 30 days or 6 weeks with 1 lesson a week. I recommend with your first students as you're doing a case study, we start with 1 lesson a week. And then the model I showed you further up earlier in this video, when you would do 2 lessons a week, when you've got more students, as I said, okay? Because you need to get in front of them more. But in the beginning, for your first group or so, 1's fine. Then you let them know, be sending out lesson replays if we can't make it. We're going to be doing assessment at the end, at the beginning and the end, to make sure we can monitor progress. We're going to do weekly fun challenges to ensure it's an enjoyable experience. And then I'll also do a one-on-one feedback review at the end of the 30 days to give you a full report on how Jimmy's done and any suggestions I might have to help him continue. That way, at the end of the 30 days, I'm confident Jimmy will have made some big leaps in his reading. Does this sound good? And of course, they're going to make an agreement. They know what's included now. They know what it looks like, and they desire it. They want it. Okay? So of course, they're going to say yes. Now you need to let them know there's some conditions to actually making this happen. Well, there's 3 conditions to making this happen. Secure a spot. I can run you through them now. Again, permission. Is that okay? Okay, well, condition 1 is, since I'm only taking on 10 students this time, because I can work closely with them, I need you to promise to commit to showing up and making sure that you push Jimmy to make sure he's there every single week so attendance is good. Can you do that? That way you can get results. Can you commit? Of course, yes. Great. Well, condition 2 is at the end of the 30 days, are you okay to jump on a quick Zoom call with me for 10 minutes, give me some feedback, and share how awesome it was so we can inspire other parents of what an amazing opportunity this might be for their child. That way, and you obviously get their agreement, that way you can collect some testimonials. Okay, so that's condition number 2. And then you let them know how it's going to be a reduced rate for your founding members. Okay, founding students. Now, if you're not starting with founding students, obviously you can use this and you can just let them know about, and then of course I can just go through the investment and I can offer you a spot. So you can just change the verbiage. Well, if you are just starting from scratch, I recommend doing something like this. The last condition is I'm going to ask all the students to commit a reduced tuition rate of $97 to confirm their spot, as I can only accept 10 students for the case study program. And whilst this isn't a lot, it's enough to give you the leverage you need to follow through on everything I'm going to be teaching. Once all the 10 spots are gone, I'll be raising the rate tuition to $250 a month, or whatever you're going to raise it to. I'm going to walk you through some of the price increases after this with a 3-month minimum commitment. So long term, as I was saying to you above, it would be 12 weeks. But if you're just getting started, I recommend doing something like this to get some experience, get some students in, because then you can always extend them as well. Okay, that way you'll get some case studies too. Just going to create an amazing foundation for your business. So you just continue here. So as you're one of the first 10 to jump in with an amazing deal here, can you agree to that condition so that you can claim one of the 10 spots? Great, cool. Obviously, some people are going to say no, or they're going to ask some questions. So you need to deal with those objections and everything like that. Again, that's something we can absolutely help you with, but this should be enough. If you use this repeatedly, you will get some students with it. Okay, perfect. Here's what we're going to do next. I'm going to process your enrollment fee, and then I'll send you out an email with the dates of the program. Okay, and you're obviously just going to email them with Zoom links, stuff like that, ready for the first class. And I recommend you host an onboarding call. So you just let them know all of this information, and you just take their payment. Now, if you've got a payment provider, great, do that. You can use things like Stripe. You could use things like PayPal. You could even, in the beginning, just send your account details and get them to pay. Okay, very simple. So now, once you've enrolled the students, here's how you would then scale it as you're just starting off. So I would say every 5 students, I'd start to increase your rate. So you don't have to start at $97 or £97. That was just an example from me. You want to start somewhere between 97 to 197. Now just remember in the beginning, it's not about making that immediate quick buck or whatever. You need to get some students for long-term success so you can get some case studies and results, okay? So this isn't forever. So I think you'd be better starting on the lower end, getting those first 5 students in. You can use that to leverage on the call to the parents, let them know that when it's going up. Then students 6 to 10, so your 6th student you enroll up to the 10th, just boost it by $100 and slowly start increasing it like that. I recommend you get 15 students in through this. Now, if you are enrolling students really quickly, probably just keep taking them in, okay, because it's going to allow you to grow faster. You're going to have a great initial founding member pool of students, okay, that will benefit you long term. Then what I would do is once you've got that, you decide where that cutoff point is, okay, and that's obviously based on your capacity, how much space you've got for new classes and so on. That's why I've put a line across here. And then let's just say in this example, I stopped that at 15 students. I might just work exclusively with those students at that point and make sure they got amazing and life-changing results, get the testimonials and case studies, and then relaunch my advertising if I wanted to. Or you don't have to, you can just keep running it. But let's just say that was the cutoff point. This is when I would switch to the 12 weeks. Okay, so now it'd be a 12-week minimum sign up, and I'd probably start somewhere around $497 or $500 to $1,000 for that period. Once you've got at least 5 testimonials from your students as well, I would switch to somewhere between $1,000 to $2,000, anywhere really from $1,000 upwards at that point, okay, for 12 weeks, okay? And again, that does depend on your offer, meaning the subject that you're teaching, the student that you're servicing, everything like that. It does depend on that. But initially, and I'll walk you through some different price models too in just a sec. But initially, when each student finishes their 6-week package or their 30-day one, if you were doing a 30-day case study, you just invite them to extend for another 12 weeks because now they've already got some value, they've built some trust, they want to continue if you've done an amazing job and tutored them really well, right? So now you can just upgrade them into the 12-week model. And at that point also, you could even make an amazing deal because they were a founding member that they could put their initial rate towards the 12-week bonus. So you give them a bit of a discount there too for being a founding member. So you can absolutely do that. Now, here's how you replace your teaching salary tutoring online in 2025. So now you know how to get students, you know how to book them in, you know how to sell. So in terms of replacing your salary, long term, it would look like this. All you do, you charge, okay, $500 to $1,000 for 12 weeks. We have teachers charging upwards of $3,500, all right? Now, let's just say that you get to $1,000 and you find that is the sweet spot. You've built some testimonials and case studies. So now you have 5 students in a group. You're enrolling 5 students into a group at minimum. They pay you $1,000 each, $5,000. They have 2 one-hour classes a week, okay? It could be 1. Right, as I said above, but let's say it's 2. That's 2 hours of teaching. So you continue to recruit 10 students at this in that monthly period. That's $10,000. You got 2 groups with 5 in a group, 4 hours of teaching. 5 groups then is 25 students, 5 groups of 5. That's just 10 hours a week teaching. If they're working with you for 12 weeks, that's $25K every 12 weeks. Okay, so it's about $100K a year. Okay, that's just you at minimum. Now you can scale this. Right? You can either increase your rates, you can increase group sizes, or what most of our clients do is they start to then hire tutors to help them create more impact. Right? Remember, this is a business at this point. So just like a school, you need to hire teachers to be able to fulfill supply and demand. Right? So example here down the bottom, if you were to increase your group size to 10 students a group, that's $200K a year. You've just doubled your business just by increasing the group size. If you were to hire 2 other tutors to do the same model, that's $300,000 a year, right? For your business, okay? And so that's how you can grow and scale this. It depends on the subject that you're offering as well, but it is a sweet spot for each subject. And then it's really just more at that point. And whether that's more increasing the rate, whether it's more students in a group, whether it's more tutors to help you grow and scale, okay? that's really it. So hope you find that valuable. That's how to become a tutor in 2025 and replace your teaching salary if you so wish, or just start simply earning more income as a teacher. But if you enjoyed this, I really recommend grabbing my book, Teaching on Your Own Terms, if you haven't got it yet. There's probably a link in the comments down below this video. You can go and pick it up. It went to bestseller in 7 categories. It's been featured by NASDAQ in Times Square, New York City. I run through a lot more detail in each of the kind of things that you need to bring students in, position yourself as the go-to tutor, almost like that chiropractor to attract your ideal students, what to share and show with the students and parents before a potential call with them to build trust and add support, and also how you teach them in groups as well. So go and grab the book if you haven't got it already, or hit like, hit subscribe on the video, and stay tuned for more videos coming your way.